There's an old African proverb that says, until the lion learns to speak, the story will be told from the hunter's perspective. Well, I'm going to speak for the lions. Okay, so you might be wondering why I chose to wear this outfit when I'm normally in a bush hat and khakis. I wanted you to see on the outside what a LionHeart feels like on the inside. But to speak for the lions, let me take you back to one dark night under African skies in 1991. Overhead is a river of stars, no moon. I am a lioness, asleep and cuddled up with my royal family. My head is resting on the fragrant earth, and my paw is flung over my sister, feeling her heartbeat rise and fall under her soft fur. Dudoof, dudoof, dudoof. We are the king and queen of species, living legends. We have brave hearts, fierce, loving, noble, and true. Our purpose is to restore good governance to this planet. Humanity has a great deal to learn from us if they would only listen to their lion hearts. Nearby, under the ancient baobab tree, a lioness is giving birth to cubs, and one of them is snow white. Everything is as nature intended. But suddenly a spotlight flashes in my eyes. In the distance, a vehicle with grinding wheels and toxic fumes comes crunching into our territories. Our pride is on high alert. In it, we see human beings shouting rudely. We are the apex predator. Why do they treat us with such disrespect? Are these the same invaders who come to kill our male lions and steal our cubs? They keep heading towards us, and now they crash into our ancient baobab tree. This is becoming dangerous. We need to protect the birthing lioness. My heart is pounding. Our pride forms a coalition, and we close in on the invaders, snarling and growling. Some of them are screaming, and one is flapping its arms in the air. Why are they behaving like prey? Do they want us to hunt them down? I go into a predatory crouch, ready to spring, but wait, who is that now walking towards us? I feel the love and respect, and then I see the indigenous grandmother walking on foot through the darkness with a baby strapped to her back. She's communicating with us, asking for safe passage so that she can assist the human beings in that truck. We won't harm her. She's of the same heart. This is a true story. It happened on the 10th of November, 1991. I know because I was there. Only I wasn't a lioness out with my pride under the stars. I was in that truck with those ignorant humans unconsciously asking to be torn to shreds. The only reason I'm here today is this amazing lion-hearted grandmother came walking through the angry lions to my rescue. I've told this story thousands of times before. I've told it to friends and family and strangers. I've told it to world congresses and press releases and TV interviews. I even told it in British Parliament when I was appealing for legislative help to protect our lions in crisis. But this is the first time I've told it from the lion's perspective. Because, remember, until we hear the lions speak, we're getting our story from the hunters. Today, our animals are the silent stakeholders in human affairs, politics, economics, and catastrophes. It's because we don't listen to nature that we allow our governments and corporations to mercilessly exploit our wildlife, turning paradise into a wasteland for our children to disinherit. I believe that when we start listening to our hearts, we will hear nature's voice and stop supporting the perpetrator's story. That's what happened to me. Was I a perpetrator? Well, I didn't think so at the time. I was a glamorous fashion and advertising exec working out of Paris, Milan, and London, and I didn't give much thought to big issues like, where do my beauty products come from? Or, what do animals suffer to become food on my plate? My heart was shut down to the pain of the real world. But then I had this near-death experience on this return journey to my homelands of South Africa, and that jump-started my heart. When I attempted to go back into the international glamour industry, nothing seemed the same any longer. It took a lot of agonizing and soul-searching because I was afraid to give up all these material trappings, but my heart kept telling me I was living a meaningless, unfulfilled life in a virtual world. So, finally, I gave it all up, and I returned to Africa to track down that amazing lion-hearted woman of the Tsonga people. And when I finally found her, I discovered that she was known as Maria, Lion Queen of Timbavati. And her opening words to me were, "I've been waiting for you for a long time to wake up." But what had I woken up to? The reality I found was catastrophic. On a daily basis, we're all bombarded with messages about the devastation of our planet. So I'm not going to hit you with statistics and gruesome images of what I was uncovering in the 90s, except to say that lions were being stolen from the wild, caged, and bred for the bullet. That's the background. Fast forward to today. These same captive breeding centers, which were started by shadowy underground syndicates, have now put on a friendly public face, offering a cub petting experience for tourists. Meanwhile, what you should know is that behind the scenes, these are factory farms, speed breeding baby cubs to kill them. Today, it's a whole-scale cuddle-to-kill industry. Here's how it works. A baby cub is forcibly removed from her mother at birth and then handed round from tourist to tourist who pay to pet it. And when this little cub grows up a bit, it might go walking with visitors who pay to walk with it. But when the same tame, friendly lion is too big to walk with or cuddle, it ends up either being shot as a trophy by international trophy hunters or starved as a skeleton and processed into lion bones by Asian traders. This is a worldwide disaster. There are no words. It's so wrong on every level. You yourself might not be a hunter, but you could easily be one of these unsuspecting visitors, happily hugging a lion cub and thinking it's okay to do that, not realizing that you are part of the production plant, producing baby cubs to kill them. Today, hugging a cub is a death sentence for the cub. And it's so easy to fall into that trap. Anyone with a heart wants to cuddle a kitty. But let's use our hearts to fight for their freedom, not sign their death warrant. Watch this.
Shine, veins of the Nile, down onto Timbavati skies, light, the bringers of light, they are the star, lions of white, these children of the sun.
The year was 2000, and I was undercover investigating one of these extermination camps. The place was calling itself a scientific breeding center, but it was later exposed for stealing lions from the wild and breeding them for the bullet. I remember being presented with this little baby lion and holding it to my chest with an overwhelming feeling of love and absolute fury. She had been forcibly removed from her own mother only hours beforehand. And I remember making a pledge to her that I would not rest until I returned her to her natural wilderness lands. The African elders regarded her as a sacred animal, and they gave her a legendary name, Mara, mother of Ra, the sun god. That was the first time I handled Mara. The second time was to secretly release her from her cage, and we went running in a field nearby, wild, for an hour before I had to return her to the extermination camp. Because I cherished her life and her wild nature, those were the only 2 times I had direct contact with Mara. I knew that real love meant returning her back to the wild, and I also knew that that meant I would never cuddle her again. To fulfill my pledge to free her into the wild, I had to face my fears and convene a legal team to defy my country's laws. It took many years of struggle, but finally, with the scientific expertise of my lion ecologist partner, we freed Mara back into the wild. And I've been fighting for the freedom of lions ever since, against great odds, but with the help of worldwide supporters such as yourselves. We've raised millions of dollars to get a protected area in the heart of the white lion's original ecosystem. But beyond these protected borders, legislation for lions today is dismal. And in 2016, this whole-scale killing industry was, wait for it, legalized by international law, CITES, the Convention for the International Trade of Endangered Species. Against such legalized barbarism, you might feel a huge sense of hopelessness, just as I do at times. The issue seems so big, why bother, right? But if I'm honest with myself, I have to admit, that's a convenient attitude to an inconvenient truth. In fact, little me and little you can do a lot, each in our own little way, because every lion-hearted action counts. I could give you a list of critical actions. I could tell you to boycott any aircraft that carries lions as cargo, dead or alive. Voice your objection to CITES and ask them to reverse this appalling legislation when they reconvene in 2020. Boycott any place that is petting lions as cubs. But the truth is that when you're listening to your own lion heart, you will have the love, the courage, and the clarity to know exactly what to do. That's how I take action. And when I listen to my lion heart, it never fails me. Dudoof, dudoof, dudoof. I'd like to close with 2 last images. The first is of African children in my project and what they are achieving through listening to their lion hearts. These kids are the future, and they're saving lions as a living heritage. The second is of the lions themselves. May they have the final word. It's time to ask the lions.
We are calling all hearts to reawake their lion heart. We are calling all hearts to be the voice of the lion. We are calling all hearts to stand up for their lion hearts. Let's unite the world. Let's unite the world.
The One United Raw Talent Challenge invites lion-hearted youth worldwide to sing, dance, act, speak for the lions.